Hey folks, so I'm very excited to make this new playlist. I'm calling it Diluted Earnings Per Share, and it's going to have 3 videos. Now, the first video is going to cover stock options, the second video is going to cover warrants, and the third video is going to cover convertible senior notes and bonds. So this is going to be a very high-level overview. Now let's just take a look at Diluted Earnings Per Share formula. So on the numerator, we have net income minus preferred dividends. So for most companies, they're not going to have these preferred dividends. So we're mostly just dealing with net income in the numerator. Now, if we're looking at the denominator, we're going to have weighted average number of shares outstanding plus the conversion of any in-the-money options and warrants and other dilutive securities. So let's just start by talking about stock options. What exactly are they? Well, stock options are basically granting employees the right to purchase shares at a lower price. So keep this in mind that employees are actually paying the company money to acquire these shares at a lower price. So the company, they are making money off of their employees, but at the same time, they are diluting the shares outstanding. So let's just talk through an example right here. I'm going to look at Snapchat. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that Snapchat is a good stock or you should go buy it. This is just an example. Now, Snapchat right now is trading at $8.47. Let's say that I'm an employee here and I was granted 1,000 options, and one option equals one stock. Now let's also say that if I wanted to exercise one option, it's going to cost me $1. So what is my profit going to be? It's going to be $7.47 per option that I exercise. So is it reasonable to assume that I am going to exercise these options? Yes. And here's why. So if the share price is above my exercise price, it's always assumed that I will exercise the option. So this basically creates a dilutive situation where we are basically increasing our shares outstanding. So anytime that we are going to assume that employees are going to exercise, we add that to the shares outstanding. Now let's say, for example, Snap is trading at 50 cents. Now would I pay $1 to receive a stock that's worth 50 cents? No. So in this case, the options are not considered dilutive because a reasonable person would not exercise those options. So they are only considered dilutive when the stock price is above the exercise price. If the stock price is below the exercise price, they are not considered dilutive. So we're going to really hit this home by just going right into the financial statements. So right here I have Snap earnings. This is the most recent quarter of earnings. So this is the September earnings. Now take a look right here. I am on the cash flow statement. And right here we have this line item. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. It says proceeds from the exercise of stock options. So like I told you guys, the employer, Snapchat, they are making money from the employees when they exercise these stock options. They are basically buying in right here. So in, I'm going to zoom out again. In 2022, so as you guys can see, 2022, for September 30th, these numbers are in thousands. These employees, they paid Snapchat $217,000 to exercise their options. Now, here's something funny right here. So in 2021, they paid about $4 million to exercise those options. So why do you think this is the case? Well, let's go back to the stock price. So here's 2021. In 2021, this thing was worth over $50. Now in 2022, you know, this thing is really falling. It's going from $45 all the way down to where it is now, $8.47. Now, most of those employees, they're going to exercise the options right around here, where the stock price is literally just euphoric. and they're going to exercise those options. They're going to sell right away. They're going to take their profits and they're going to run. Now, everybody who is over here, it's not really beneficial for them to exercise those options. So that's why we saw so much more proceeds from exercise options in 2021 versus 2022. So let's just go back and look at that again. 217,000 in 2022, 4 million and 45,000 in 2021. So yeah, the proceeds from the exercise of stock options, this is highly correlated to the stock price itself. Now let's go ahead and look at something else. I'm going to go to page 15 if you guys follow along. So right here on page 15, it says basically outstanding at September 30th, 2022, they had stock options that were going to basically be dilutive of about 3,466,000 shares. So this is just their Class A. For their Class B, this was 618,000 shares. So right here you can see in thousands. So we're dealing with thousands right here. Now look at the weighted average exercise price. Now the weighted average exercise price here is $10.51. So does it necessarily make sense to basically exercise your share? So it says essentially that one share is on average for these employees going to cost $10.51 to exercise. What is the share price right now? $8.47. So what are they losing? They would lose a little bit over $2 if they wanted to exercise these shares. Keep in mind that this right here is an average. So not all employees have to pay this amount. So some employees, they may have a better exercise price. So some employees, they may still exercise. Other employees, or most employees, they're not going to exercise here because the share price is below the exercise price. Now, let me just show you guys one more thing. So we're going to look at page 14. Now, let's go ahead and read this line right here. It says the following potentially dilutive shares were excluded from the calculation of diluted net loss per share because their effect would have been anti-dilutive for the periods presented. So it says that they excluded the stock options, and they excluded about 4,084,000 shares from the dilutive count. Now, what is the reason for this? It's exactly what I showed you guys before. It's not dilutive because the exercise price is higher than the share price. So I hope you guys really understood a little bit more about dilutive earnings per share and how they're calculating this for stock options. So definitely stay tuned for part 2 where I am going to talk about warrants.